Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there is also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Mark Doxey, Ranty Flat Earth, Sleeping Warrior, Jose, and Chocolate Sane. Good to have you all, gentlemen.
Yo.
Hello, good to be here.
So I see you've been getting a bit of stick, Nathan, for not bowing down to King Slice Barcane and Sling Red's rhetoric.
King Slice Barcane? That's new. That's a new one on me.
He seems to be acting like a king. He's demanding that you go to his channel, or maybe not his channel, but he's demanding that you don't go to your channel that's got the open door, free link to anybody. He's demanding that you come away from your safety haven because, in his opinion, he believes that. Actually, I'm not sure what Sly believes, but according to the errand boy from Red's rhetoric, it's because you've got the control to mute people and they don't like it.
Oh, right. That's a shame.
Diddums.
Any other excuses? Let me get this straight. So, as far as Red's rhetoric's concerned, his issue, after calling me out, saying he wants to talk to me, I mean, I've no idea what he wants to talk to me. He has not approached me at all. Yeah? Just errand boy after errand boy after errand boy. That's all I get. So he wants to talk to me, and I've got an open door. He can walk right in and say whatever the hell he likes. Loads of people do it all day long. So why would Red be any different? Oh, I know. Because he deserves special treatment. He needs a special venue to talk to me. Because he's a bitch. So when he gets over his bitch demands, he can come and talk to me if he chooses, or he can fly away. Those are his only options. I have absolutely no desire to go and meet him on any other platform. None. And I'm not going to. So after calling me out, he's got two options. Come here and talk to me. Don't come here and talk to me. I don't give a crap either way.
I don't blame you, to be honest. I think the tide's turning against the ballers now because there's that much evidence coming out because that many people are going out and doing stuff. And with these infrared lenses that are being applied to cameras these days, in the last month or so, we're getting some pretty incredible footage, right? And it kind of destroys the argument that we live on a sphere. Now, it doesn't mean that we live on a flat plane, in my opinion. It means that it's unexplained. It's undiscovered. It's like when you play Command and Conquer and you have the black screen and you have to get your men walking around the screen to discover the land. We're kind of the black men walking around the black parts of the screen. So you've got to discover what we live on. So it may be flat, probably is flat, but it could be something else. It could be fourth or fifth dimensional. But there's that much information, knowledge and experience and evidence that's coming out against the idea that we live on a little spinning testicle that it's becoming untenable for any of the ballers to maintain any position on this. And it's interesting to see why, because the evidence is there's loads against them, but they're just burying the head in the sand. They don't want to address Ranty's Barrow thing. And I know Sean Hufford's had a go at dealing with the 19-mile observation at Barrow. But regardless of what Sean Hufford and friends did, it's not consistent with Soundly's evidence at the same distance. So if Soundly's is the size of a basketball, according to him, then we should be getting the same thing with Ranty, and we're not. We're seeing the beach. So what's going on?
So what did you say they're getting? Was it a sign of curvature?
No. What they were trying to say was that I should have seen this building, this 5-story building, that isn't evidenced in any of the photography that I've been doing of the location, until I actually pointed out that it's behind Devonshire Dock Hall in my line of sight, so I would never have seen it anyway.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing, Travis?
Good.
Hello, my good man.
Hello, my better man.
Well, maybe you can answer me this, Travis. Any other signs of curvature if a spurious building that we shouldn't see anyway because it's obscured by other buildings isn't counting as curvature? Any other signs?
No.
I'm drawing a blank.
As long as you don't fire blanks, that's drawing a blank's okay.
Oh, just picking up from your when you were talking about your infrared, Anthony. You know, it's all like you say. It's only been the last month or so that we've started to look into this infrared stuff since it became sort of like known that we can see through the atmosphere with it. Yep. Have you noticed why did they put an infrared filter in all cameras prior to this? A blocker, not an infrared that you can see with it, a blocker to block out the infrared.
That was my question to Nathan, and he was like, well, what does it imply to you? And I was like, well, the fact that they put it there means that it's a physical barrier, right? Why is there a barrier there? What's the barrier for? What does it do? I mean, we know roughly what it does, but what is the actual effect of putting it in there, and why is it in there? To me, it's an intention to deceive by virtue of restriction of information. Now, I'm not saying that it actually is, but the fact that there's something physical there stopping you from seeing further makes me wonder, was it intentional? But Nathan didn't get the gravitas of that, pardon the pun.
No, I mean, it's not that I didn't get the gravitas of it. It's just infrared will interfere with the quality of a picture to a certain extent. So I'm not saying that it's bad for flat Earth, because it obviously is, but I'm saying that it isn't necessarily anything nefarious on the part of a camera manufacturer to want to filter out something that may not improve your picture.
The 220-mile distance that Respis Finem has captured is absolutely sensational. Have you seen the video, Nathan?
I have.
We need to plug this a little bit for those that are not aware. Let's big it up. 220 miles with a telescope and an infrared filter on it, and you can see stuff that should be miles. It's more than a mile.
How many kilometers is that? Is it about 350?
What is it again? 250 miles.
220 miles, yeah.
No, 220 miles is 60 is 100, so 120 would be 200.
About 350, just over.
Yeah.
Right, well, essentially, there should be 6 miles of drop. 6 miles of hidden. Sorry, not drop, hidden. 6 miles of hidden.
Yeah,
and
some of the things he said I didn't understand. He brought in NASA somehow and said that NASA was keeping something from our vision or something like that. But I was thinking, what does that have to do with a ground-based line of sight? So I don't know. Did you guys pick up on that at all when he mentioned NASA?
No.
I don't know what you're talking about. You'll have to give us a bit more detail, I'm afraid, Travis.
I only watched it once. So, but when he was talking about it, he was talking about something that was being kept from us, something that was being kept from our vision, kept from our sight. But he was talking about, obviously, the Massachusetts line of sight from one point of the coast to the next point. But he brought in NASA. So to me, it stood out, and I just kind of found it curious, and I'm just asking in case any of you picked up on it. But if you didn't, then maybe I, heard something that wasn't really there.
Nathan, can you just pop us on screen for just a second?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I haven't, but it may be worth revisiting, Travis,
Yeah, I think I'll listen to it again, because it was really enigmatic. I was like, that doesn't really...
You're on, Runty.
Okay, so I did a little test. I went down to the beach and I saw this this boat, which is obviously a ferry. And what we're looking at is from a low elevation to a high elevation. You can obviously see the mirroring line at the high elevation here. You can't really see the mirroring line here because it's all smudged. You don't know what's what from what. However, there is a consistency with the water and such. Also the width of the actual boat. So I am actually going to be doing my P900. I'm going to be essentially taking out the filter that's inside of that. So right now, people in chat, I want you to tell me the next time I go down to the beach with my P900 modified and I can see an infrared, you tell me what part of this boat am I going to see? Am I going to see it like that? Or am I going to see it essentially in its entirety like this when it breaks through that mirroring layer that's obviously in this area? So one, if it's going to essentially break through it and make it look like so, make it look flat, or two, It's going to prove the curvature of the Earth, because the ballers will say that this is the curvature of the Earth here. This is what they've always said. So 2 for the curvature of the Earth, 1 for the flatness of the Earth.
Are you doing a straw poll? Okay, so
A straw poll,
2 if you think it's going to show that that's actually an obstruction that we can't physically see, but is smudging and stretching things, but is actually Earth curve, and 1 if you think it's just flat as a pancake.
Yep, and I want this recorded. So obviously you're recording it, so I can go back, I can laugh in all the ballers' faces when I get the P900 modified, and I go down and I do this exact same experiment. And I am absolutely confident that this is exactly what we'll see. Essentially, this area here.
Fair enough. Cool, nice. Any other signs of curvature?
Earthbound.
Earthbound, obviously, as always, Ranty. Yes, of course.
No.
What about axial rotation? Everybody get your mics open. I'm sure you're all ready to give me that crucial bit of information that will lead to the axial rotation of a presupposed spherical Earth. Right, lads? Anyone?
Yeah,
Anyone?
I opened my mic to say no.
Ah,
Well, I thought I could feel it yesterday.
We don't got any of that.
I thought I could feel it yesterday, but then I realised I'd had quite a lot to drink the night before, so I think it was just a hangover.
Maybe somebody that believes we live in a spinning globe in the chat maybe can join the show and tell us all about it.
No, then. No signs of axial rotation. Seriously?
No.
About
Can't help
gravity?
you.
Any signs of gravity?
Where's Darwin when you need him?
Where is Arwin?
Arwin is claiming he's being blocked. He can't get on.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since yesterday. I don't know.
Marvin's been moonlighting at Dell's anyway. He was on the back door at Dell's apparently.
Was he?
Moonlighting? Promoting his channel. That's not moonlighting. He's not my employee.
It is moonlighting.
He was watching Dell's back door.
You know, he was sucking Dell's back door. I mean,
excuse me. Less of that. No need. No need. Let's move on. So, was there any signs of gravity? Arwin's not here to answer.
No, from this side.
I'll answer for Arwin.
Any signs of gravity, Mark?
Sorry, you're breaking up. What did you say?
Any signs of gravity, Mark?
Can't hear you. What are you saying?
Any signs of gravity?
Yes.
Oh,
Really?
excellent. That's a
Tell us
turn
about
up.
this then.
What?
We're
what
all
was
ears.
what was your sign of gravity, Mark?
Things drop whenever you let go of them.
Oh, right. So weight's not a thing.
Tell you something.
I can't believe he said yes. I can't believe it.
Well,
Mark's
we'll get
got
into the
courage.
crux of it now, aren't we?
I belong in a little corner of flat Earth called the gravity side.
The gravity flat Earth.
I'm an apostate.
So this gravity thing, how does it work?
I'll answer that question if you answer me a question.
Sure.
A rubber balloon in my mop of hair, and it sticks to the wall. What factually is static electricity?
What factually is it?
Yeah.
It's just a positive charge of electrons, I believe.
Yeah, you believe?
I'm going to have to answer this call. Let me come back to you in a sec.
Oh,
Saved by the Bell, I like your story.
Right,
Genuinely
right.
ringing, I promise.
I didn't hear anything ringing.
It is ringing, I
normally
promise.
hear a
I'll
phone
come back.
ringing if there's a phone.
Okay.
I did actually hear it, so.
That was classic.
Fair
You
enough.
had him, Mark. You had him, Mark.
Maybe we'll move on. What about the presupposition itself? Any signs of radius, gentlemen? Anyone?
No.
Only sign is R for rumpusing when he show up.
But definitely not Earth-based radius. No scientific evidence of that. Nobody? Anybody?
No. No.
Fair enough. What
Well,
about
I would wonder if
okay.
Mark would have to presuppose that based on his affirmation of gravity. Otherwise, I'm not sure what.
Excuse me, what did you say then? Sunshine?
I'm just curious what the basis for gravity is for you if it doesn't correlate to a radius.
Has anyone got any popcorn?
Oh, I've gone on mute.
I mean, I'm just curious. Don't they go hand in hand? So that was the thing that I had trouble with Rob Skiva's interview with Sungenis. Sungenis never discussed how his spherical stationary Earth could maintain its physics without spinning and
Right, I'm back.
all of the other told asking. I'm just good. Saved by Anthony.
Right, so the static charge on a balloon sticks to a wall, and you're asking why? Yeah.
No, I'm asking you to factually explain to me static electricity, not why the ball sticks there. What is static electricity?
Do I sound like an electrician? The way
So
I understand
you
it,
answer the question with a question. Good man.
well, I mean, you're asking me for quite a niche area. That's not something I ever really think about. But the way I understand it is that when you rub the rubber balloon, the static charge is created by the friction caused between the rubbing material and the balloon itself. Generally speaking, they're considered to be positive charges. And when you put a positive charge against an earth, it's a positive charge against a negative, they attract, don't they? They're not. They're opposing.
So are all walls are negatively charged?
If they're grounded, I would believe so.
But you're not quite so sure.
Unless it's insulated.
You see, yeah, you're demonstrating that you've observed something, but you can't quite explain it.
No, I've just explained it. Whether it's right or not doesn't mean it's true. But what I'm saying is the explanation, as far as I know, is that positive charges on the balloon are attracted to the negative charge of the neutral wall.
Yeah, on paper, yeah. But can you actually see it or explain it or prove
Static,
it?
yeah, you can see it if it arcs to you because you're insulated.
So you can see static electricity, can you?
Yeah, you can see it pass from materials to material. You see it in pylons. Well, maybe not pylons. Bad example. Yeah, actually, I think you can see it with the pylons. Every now and again, you hear them buzzing when it's certain weather conditions.
No, we're talking about a balloon on a wall here, aren't we? Can you actually see what holds it on?
You could see when you touch like a doorknob.
You can see static by when you rub it on your chest.
No. Hold on, Anthony. So he's not saying can you see static if you manipulate the balloon and get it far away and make the gap the right distance so you can see a spark jump. He's saying you've got a balloon, it's stuck to the wall. According to you, it's positive attracting negative, and that keeps it against the wall, right? But he's saying, well, what are you looking at?
Well, the static is on the balloon, and if you put it to somebody's hair, depending on the type of hair they've got, it attracts it, it pulls it out of their head kind of thing, it pulls it up towards it, right? Defying gravity, but nonetheless, it seems to be something that's sat on top of the balloon, given that it's made of rubber or some kind of insulating material. The fact that it carries a charge in itself is a discussion. But it appears that the positive charges that were created by the friction on the material that you rubbed it on are attracting the hair for some reason, and that seems to be the explanation. But I don't know why that's got anything to do with gravity.
Well, it's not buoyancy that's holding the balloon to the wall, is it?
It's definitely not gravity, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not gravity. All I'm asking you to do is to consider that attraction doesn't have to be visible, and it can be difficult to explain as well. I see an attraction of bodies. Whenever you let go of it, it goes downwards. That's all I'm saying. And you're trying to sort of corner me into believing the whole theory of the gravity, and I'm not.
Well,
I'm just demonstrating to you that something can be attracted to something else. And it's not gravity, it's static electricity, but you haven't really explained it. And you won't be able to because nobody can really explain what's happening.
So why did you ask him?
But hang on.
No. So why did you ask him that question? If no one can explain it, why did you ask Anthony?
Well, I am now going to make a comparison.
No, I just feel that you're leading him. If you knew it was a trick question and nobody can actually answer it, I'm just wondering why you did that.
For days, Anthony has been throwing the gauntlet to me. He's drawing me into a conversation that we finished having.
Hello.
How you doing, Jimbo?
As far as I'm concerned, I've finished the conversation. If you want clarification, go back a few episodes and listen to what I was saying. I'm giving an example of something that attracts something else, and yet it's hard to explain exactly what's happening. All I'm saying is that there is an attraction that keeps me on the ground.
Right, but all I'm saying is you can't prove it.
Anthony, just live with it.
No,
I'm not.
it. It's the same argument with Darwin. If you believe that there's something there, and I don't believe there's
No,
something
I
there,
observe something that's there, and I cannot explain it. Just
so
like
can I
you
say
are.
this
How you doing,
observation that you
gods?
see
Hold
that I
on.
don't see?
Calm down.
Just-
Calm down. Hold on. Hi, gods.
A
How you doing?
balloon
Good to-
that's rubbed can stick against the wall. It weighs what, 14 grams, half an ounce, and that's a lot of mass. Yet a little bit of quote static charge is holding something that is basically massive
I'm not
compared to an
arguing.
invisible force that can defy gravity, literally defy gravity and stick to a wall, a vertical wall. No, it either means that
Sorry,
magnetism and
Jimbo.
these effects
Sorry.
of static are millions of times stronger than so-called gravity, or gravity just ain't there. Because if gravity is such a wuss that a few missing electrons, if that's what the case is,
No,
can
you've
stick
misunderstood.
a
You've
balloon to
misunderstood
the
what I'm
wall
saying.
Just one.
just
Sorry,
by an
Jimbo.
invisible
Jimbo, hold on one
force, then
second.
what's
Sorry,
gravity as
Jimbo.
an invisible force?
I just want Mark to actually draw his comparison. He never got a chance to actually draw the comparison that he was trying to draw.
There's a mysterious, invisible attraction that holds the balloon to the wall that we can't really explain. We just can see it happening, and it's the same with my version of gravity. I cannot explain it. I experience it. That something holds me to the ground. Now, just leave it at that.
No.
But okay, why
No,
does the
that's not
thing stick to the
acceptable.
wall?
Hang on, stop. That's not acceptable because it swerved my point by distraction. My point is that if you believe that there's a force there, fine. But you actually said the word observe. You observe a force. And I'm like, well, okay, well, can we see the evidence
Listen,
of said force?
you can pick on little words in sentences and try and obfuscate. What I'm saying is I observe and I feel something holding me to the ground.
No, it's not obfuscation to pinpoint specifically what you're talking about and ask.
No, you're asking me to define force, and all I'm saying is what I observe.
Right, and I'm asking you to demonstrate what you observe is gravity, not density.
Well, you cannot demonstrate to me that it's only density and buoyancy that brings things down to the earth.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
Go
on then.
Go on then.
Okay. Present the
Nathan.
screen, Nick, please.
Okay.
So, let's just share screen, entire screen, and then go to here, make this bigger. Right, this guy's found that you can get water bombs, water balloons, fill them with helium, and then basically what you can do with them is you can put them, he's just let go of them so that they show that they are filled with helium, stick them in a little vacuum chamber, remove the air out of them so that the density of the balloon becomes heavier than the air that's no longer in there, and the balloons drop. Now, my position is that the density of the balloon, we can give them, like I did with that separation chamber, we put numbers in all the layers of liquid. We can give the balloons a weight value of, say, 2. And we'll give the air that the balloons sit in a weight value of 5, because the balloons are going to go above it, must be lighter. But if you remove the 5 factor out of the box, so it now becomes a 0, but the balloons are still 2, you know what's going to happen. Now, as he's sucking out all the air, you can see that the balloons are getting bigger and bigger because that's what happens with removal of the pressure, apparently. That's not my point. My point is that once it gets to a certain point, the balloons then become heavier than the air that's no longer in there. So the density of the balloon exceeds the air that was once in there, has now been exhausted.
Yeah.
And that, for me, is a good example of the density of the balloons being heavier than the air that's no longer in there, without mentioning gravity at all. So my question would be, well, where do you draw the line between the gravity pulling down?
Because you're missing the bleeding obvious here. The two things cannot share the same space at the same time.
What do you mean?
Well, the air is heavier than the balloons. They can't share the same space at the same time, so buoyancy naturally will separate the two, one above the other. That's dead simple. When you suck the air out, there's no longer anything underneath it, so it can now share the space that gravity is pulling it down to. That's my explanation. And listen, Anthony, we don't need to go over and over this. That's what I'm saying is happening.
No, we do need to go over it.
Well, listen, in your juvenile mind, you need to go over it.
No, this isn't juvenile.
Listen, I'm moving myself from this conversation. I'm no longer going to argue with you about density or gravity.
So in that case, when Nathan's asked a question at the start of each show, you've got to say either yes or no.
No, he
I don't have to say anything.
He doesn't have to do anything.
I'm going to ask you. Because you've got to say something. If you believe gravity's there but can't prove it, I'm gonna ask you.
Why is this important to you? I think you're doing this on a personal level rather than.
No, it's not personal at all. It wasn't personal against Darwin.
You make.
It's one of the key flat.
If we were to look at the conversations that you have with Arwin, and they're all there on Skype, we will see that you have made things personal.
No, this is flat Earth.
Listen, live with it.
Provide evidence or say no to the question when asked.
Listen, the Nazis made sure people thought the way they thought.
No,
don't be comparing us to
evidence of gravity.
You
think that there is, and the answer is no.
You cannot cope with me having a different conclusion than you.
I can, but you can't
prove
your conclusions based on sound evidence.
I've just explained to you what's happening in this
explanation is not causation.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I
why
jump in
does
real
static defy gravity? A balloon with just a little static charge stick to a wall for hours. So lose that charge, defying gravity. Why is static so strong as opposed to gravity? I'm calling gravity a wuss right now.
That's irrelevant. If I could get
No,
another
it's not
word.
irrelevant. It's physical. We can see it. It's tangible. The balloon will stick to the wall.
Yes, it will.
Why is it it will. So where's gravity? Why isn't gravity doing its job?
Why
is a little bit of static so much more powerful than gravity?
Because it is. Otherwise,
so
it would fall down.
Not even calculable.
You miss why I used the balloon. A few days ago, Anthony was telling me that if you cannot see the force, then there isn't a force. And I'm just saying to him, a balloon will stick to the wall. He cannot explain to me static, and neither can I. But there's an effect going on there, and that's all I'm saying is.
But I did explain to you static.
No, you didn't. You used probably, or it appears. You did use that word appear. It appears to. So you really weren't.
It's also a gravity-defying effect.
Because I cannot explain gravity. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That there's no force there.
It's not that you can't explain it. It's that you can't prove it.
Let me jump in real quick. Can I jump in real quick and ask Mark a question?
Go on, Travis.
Okay. So when you were responding to the two helium balloons and you explained the impossibility of two objects occupying the same place at the same time, when the air was removed, you said, now that the air is removed, gravity can pull the balloon down. But to me, I have to ask you, where do you get gravity in that equation? I mean,
listen, can we stop using the word gravity? Just call it a downward force.
No, we can't stop using the word gravity.
That's where you're trying to force me into a corner to accept.
I'm not. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying.
Anthony, I have finished with this conversation. You can say
I'm not finished with it.
I have finished with it, and that's it.
Okay, well, let me give you another demonstration of so-called gravity.
I'm not interested. I'm really.
Okay, Mark, hold on, Mark. Fair enough, but for the audience's benefit, you're presenting now. Make your point, Anthony, and then hopefully we'll move on.
Right, this guy's got basically a bin bag. It's like a big salami, but it's made of the same material that bin bags are made of. And what he does is once he unfolds it from its folded up, rolled up position, it was like a cigar. He ties a knot in it in one end to create a plug, and then all he does, I'll speed it up a little bit. He stretches it out and basically fills it full of air, and it's got a name for it. It's called the Spangler effect. But he fills it full of air, and what he does, because it's black, he indirectly heats the air that's inside the sock. We'll call it a wind sock, with the blackness of the bag. And when he does that, it changes the buoyancy of the thing. This is the bit where he's filling it. So what he does is he makes his wind sock out of this ethylene, whatever plastic product it is. And basically, because of the heat that the sun puts into it, it changes the warmth of the air inside it, creating a buoyant effect. Mm-hmm. But if gravity is affecting this, where's the line drawn? And I'll show you when he's actually showing it now. So I'll get him to show it. There you go. Now it's warmed up, it's now elevated itself above, it's created its own buoyancy by virtue of the temperature of the air inside the sock. But my question is, where's the gravity in relation to the density and the buoyancy? Where do you draw the line? Because we see clearly that there's a density and buoyancy effect going on, and we can explain it, because the warmth of the air inside the salami has now got warmer, so it's become buoyant. And it's the same air that was on the outside, he's not added any air into it. So we can explain this, obviously, with basic density and buoyancy effects. But where's the gravity overlap? Because if gravity is the weakest of the 4 or 5 forces that the science claims to be there, then some of this.
You see, you've misrepresented me again. You said about science explaining gravity. I'm not supporting that, and I'm not defending that either. Now, you tell me what you observe and what your conclusions are. Let the audience hear what you say, and that's my final word on this subject.
I observe density over buoyancy in this example. I see no evidence of gravity, and if gravity is a thing, some of this experiment or some of this observation has to be attributable to gravity. So my question is, where is the gravity? Because we only seem to see buoyancy over and density as a correlating effect between each other, a relational, proportionate thing to each other. But where's the gravity? My question is, there is none.
Anthony, I'd like to say that I think that you're bringing up a good point. I think that it's an appropriate question to ask if you are going to bring in the discussion of gravity into this. I think that you're right to say, how can we differentiate what percentage belongs to which variable?
Yeah, is it 1%? Is it 6%? 2.3%? What portion of what we see is attributable to gravity, and how do we prove it?
And I think that if most of our observations help us be able to be more specific with a density and buoyancy percentage, and we aren't really able to delineate when gravity comes in, to me that negates and nullifies bringing in gravity at all.
I agree. And all he's doing now is exhausting the hot air that was in the thing to now not have any hot air in it at all, because the blacks, you can see it exhausting, it's coming out. So now it drops down again, it regains its density, and it falls straight to the floor. But my confusion stems from the claim that there's a second force in play, and I want to know where that force is and how can we tell it's there.
Can I ask one question just to better understand Mark's position?
Sure, go ahead. I don't know if
Mark,
Mark
is that
will
all
answer.
right?
Are you asking me a question about it? Oh, yeah.
I'd just like to better understand your position, if I could, if you wouldn't mind answering a question or maybe a couple.
Well, I've said to Anthony, I've finished with the discussion.
Okay, I just want to understand. I'm not trying to debate you on it. I just wanted to understand your position. I had a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this, and I'm not even going to try and put words in your mouth or anything. We'll call it a downward force that you observe. I'm just wondering, in this observation or whatever your thoughts on it, what parameters would affect this downward force in your estimation? Like for instance, if you Google what things affect gravity, and obviously they're talking about Newtonian gravity when you read this, but they'll say distance and mass are the two basic things that affect gravity. I'm just wondering what things would affect your downward force.
Well, I reject Newtonian, Einstein's, and also the Cavendish experiment. I reject that as pseudoscience.
Okay.
So I can't answer your question.
Okay, fair enough. I was just wondering if you were going down that road or not.
You see, if I make a conclusion to the discussion, there'll be more wood added to the fire, and I want to stop this conversation now.
Okay.
Any signs of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, gentlemen?
No.
No? That elusive molten iron core hasn't suddenly popped into existence? Nobody's got validity to this assertion? Seriously? Come on, there must be some. It's 10 people, come on!
Well, I thought that was connected to the downward force. What do you think, Mark?
As I said, I finished this conversation.
He's just said he rejects all of that. Nobody's listening to him. Ugh.
So besides the depths of the ocean, who knows what's beyond 8 miles, roughly 8 miles down? If you dig into the earth past 8 miles, what's down there? And who knows?
Not a molten iron core.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm happy to move on then. What about a pressurised system next to a vacuum? Any signs of that, gentlemen?
Hang on, Nathan, I'm not quite finished on that last point.
Oh, right.
I know that Mark's finished, but I'm not.
Self-perpetuating molten iron core or gravity?
Pardon?
Which one?
Molten iron core.
No, the gravity point. Mark
course.
might be finished, but I want to finish by concluding that if there's an assertion that there's an extra force involved, and we can't quantify it, see it, like qualify it with anything, validate it to be true, Mark, you've got to drop that assertion. You can't say that there's something there, downward acceleration force or whatever, unless you can prove it's true, which is the baller's position.
You're still trying to make me think, and you're not giving me permission for my own thoughts.
I'm not.
You're telling me what I should be believing.
You can have
When
any
you
thoughts you want.
drop a set of keys or a microphone, or you hoist a bowling ball and pin it to the rafters, that a person was involved in storing potential energy.
Listen, no, we're
and then
shifting from that
releasing
now.
it
I'm
in
taking.
demonstrations. So
No,
as soon as you
hang
can
on.
eliminate fingers from a microphone and then blame the downward force on that myth called gravity,
Listen,
I'll be happy with it.
Listen,
So
James.
somehow magically suspend something above the ground and calculate its magical drift and acceleration downward without giving any attribution to the responsible party for making an object fall, whether it's a bowling ball, a set of keys in your hand, or a microphone.
Listen,
You want to ignore the reality of
James.
potential energy falling.
James, can you
Cool.
hang on, James? And Sleeping Warrior, James. You've gone back to what I've finished discussing. What I would take up now is Sleeping Warrior cannot cope with somebody else thinking something different than him, and he's insisting that I have to explain my conclusions.
No,
and you are.
You're misrepresenting my position completely.
No, listen. You're a thought Nazi.
Listen,
you
no.
cope.
You can believe.
Wow.
Listen, you can believe anything you want.
Thank you.
I need to say something real quick, please.
But if the
I need to
question
say
asked,
something.
hang on. If the question being asked is there any signs of gravity, and you say, well, or choose to stay silent, and I challenge you on it because I know your position, and then for whatever reason are unable to prove evidence, to produce evidence of
Anthony,
truth.
let me be wrong in your.
But then you have to do. If you can't prove your assertion is true, then you have
I'm
to
not making an issue of it. You're the one making an issue of it.
Let me say something real quick, please. Let me say something real quick, please. I had a question to follow up with Mark, and I can tell, and I could tell moments ago, that he was not interested. And if I were a friend, I would not ask the question. So after our Canadian friend asked Mark his question, and Mark reiterated and made it very clear he did not want to continue the situation, guess what I had to do? I had to shelve my question as much as I wanted to ask it, because I knew that if I asked the question, I would be ignoring Mark's wishes.
No, I don't agree.
Now,
you don't have to shelve the question.
Anthony, I think that you are pushing too far right now. I really do.
Why?
Mark
Mark has an assertion. I don't think you can prove it. Why am I wrong to push for it?
Because you're a thought Nazi, that's why.
I'm an evidence king.
You were very good as an inquisitor 500 years ago.
I'm an evidence king.
You
Thought
have to believe that the
controlling your
vicar
thoughts.
of God.
You can think anything you want, Mark.
And thank you. So leave it at that.
Mark.
No.
You just said I can think anything I want.
You can't think what you want, but I'm asking you to produce evidence that gravity is a thing.
Somebody said Mark.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mark, I think the main problem that I think we're having right now is that when the ballers come in here, we ask them for proof of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what we do when we're in here. We ask the ballers to provide proof of whatever their argument is. And you know, you're one of those people that does that. So now that you partake in however you feel about gravity, and we're asking you that, it's kind of funny that you just don't want to say it. Now, of course, you're allowed to do that if that's what you want. And
No,
I
I
understand.
You're misrepresenting me. If you know me, my position is what's observable, what can you feel?
No, I totally get that. You observe an attraction. You jump up, you fall to the ground. You observe that as attraction, and that's fine.
I also observe that we live on a flat plane, and I also observe that we don't feel movement. That's my position. It's always forget about evidence.
So I think what you're trying to get at is you
we know what down is, but we just don't know why down is down, right? Because
Okay. I'm not
here's
going to say yes or no.
here's the thing. If it's a gravitational force or like a pull, right? That you
Yeah,
believe in,
yeah.
and at the same time you don't, really believe in like the core, the molten iron core, which gives us our magnetic field and gravity and all this. It kind of I don't know. It kind of
No, listen. I reject all scientific proofs of gravity. All I'm going off is what I observe. I don't observe things going up when you let go of them. I see them going down. Let me just wallow in that rather than somebody saying, no, you must believe what I believe, because that's thought control and it's Nazism.
Right, can I ask 2 questions, and then I am done? You've just said, and I'm going to quote you word for word, you reject all scientific proofs of gravity. What scientific proofs of gravity do you reject?
I finished with you.
That's none.
No,
my
I
second
finished
question-
with you because
my
you
second-
are a thought Nazi.
So my second
You
question.
cannot-
Right, listen, Mark, I really have to take offence at this now. That's the 4th time that you've actually used the word Nazi and you've directed it directly at Anthony. I think
Yes.
you've been out of order. I think you're being very out of order, and I would like you to retract that.
No,
It's all right. Listen,
I can come to Mark's aid just as much and say that Anthony is being a prig and pushing on Mark when Mark clearly does not want to carry on this conversation.
Well,
I
agree.
conversation-
and I can
that
say
leads-
birds
Travis, I
jump
think-
out of trees and fall on their heads.
that
Because
leads-
Look,
my next
hold
question.
on. I think I agree with Travis. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, which is why until now I haven't intervened. But ultimately, yeah, Anthony's pushing a bit too hard, and ultimately you can't call him a thought Nazi. He's not saying you can't believe what you want. He's just asserting his point stronger and stronger each time in the face of you disagreeing. Now, it is a debate, so I'm not going to stop this happening. I'm sorry if that upsets you.
Well, listen, I will take back the Nazi description, and I will apologise for that. But I'm asking Anthony, let me observe and draw my own conclusions.
You may do
Leave it
that.
at Thank you.
I have one last
No,
question.
no buts.
No,
Just let
one
me do
last
it.
question, then I'm done.
Okay, well, hold on. Right, so
I
you
have
don't have to.
intercept on there, yeah, because I don't think you should ask it.
Well, no, I don't
Thank
mind
you.
if he asks it, but it's going to get left as an open question. So don't feel the need to say I'm not going to answer it or anything, Mark. It'll just get thrown out there, and then we'll move on to Bill Miller.
And again, let me apologise for using the word Nazi, because I quite like you.
So can I ask my
Anthony.
one question or not?
No, I finished.
You can
Finished.
ask
you
it,
might
but
be
it
finished,
doesn't.
but I'm gonna ask
It
it
won't
anyway.
necessarily get an answer. So you can
No,
throw
that's
out
okay.
whatever
I
your question
understand.
is.
I know that I may not get an answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yeah,
My
fair
question
enough.
is, does Mark think that he should be treated any differently to the ballers when they make the same point because he's a flat earther or not?
That's a very misleading.
Yeah,
and
that's
unfair
a ropey question. Mark's
You're-
not getting treated
you're
any
assuming
different. I
that
can
I
assure
am.
you. He's not getting any different treatment. So I'm sorry, Mark. I'm going to answer for you, so you don't have to answer that. But no, Mark's not getting treated any different to anybody else.
I don't agree. Well, he thinks that he seems to think that
Think.
he
You
can-
can't use the word think because we're
he seems-
removing
he seems
thoughts
to
from
think-
it.
He seems to think that he can be excused from answering questions because there is
No,
views and
listen,
beliefs.
listen. That's
Well,
not this.
instead
This
of
is
talking over the conversation, it's trying to shut it down. It's just
this is
the
no.
opposite
This is
of
common sense.
you know.
This is common sense in communication. If I am in a discussion with a baller in a bar, and we get to the point to where he says, "I don't want to have this conversation anymore," even though he's not answering my questions, I would be unacceptably rude to push him up against the ropes and continue to question him when he told me he doesn't want to talk anymore.
But the alternative, Travis, is that the point doesn't get concluded. So what would you rather?
So what, Anthony? You don't have to win. You don't have
it's not
to
about
win.
winning. It's about
It
whether
is.
it's not. It's not about winning. I don't. If he can
You're
prove
making your
gravity,
point again
that's
right
fine.
now. You have to be right now.
No, it's not about right and wrong. It's about what can you prove. And at the end of the day, if he doesn't want to answer that question, that's fine.
Then
But
you let
what
it
the
go and
audience to
consider
see-
it. Yeah, consider it a win in your mind. Then you've won in your mind.
It's not about winning. All I'm doing is letting the audience see that when cornered, Mark doesn't want to answer the question. That's what I'm doing.
Which is absolutely fine, and that's why I let it roll. But ultimately, once it's reached that point, it's different when there's a baller against the ropes and he keeps throwing out the same assertion. Mark saying, "I've had enough. Don't want to do this no more. No. And you're carrying on anyway. So,
Well, why is it any different, Nathan?
Well, because he's not doing what the
Called
ballers
common
do.
courtesy.
He's not continually reasserting the same position.
That's true, but he also isn't dropping the point either.
But you can't make him. I say this to the ballers all the time. Normally, it's when they don't concede that they believe something. So if they say, no, this is how it is, gravity is just a fact, it's proven scientifically, or whatever it is that they assert, that's when I won't let them off the ropes, because they're reasserting their position. They won't just say, as Mark has, well, that's just my belief, let me have my belief. He's entitled to believe whatever he likes. But on the other hand, if he keeps reasserting his belief and trying to spin it into it being reality, which is another thing the balls do, again, hold his toes to the fire all day long. But that's not what he's doing. He's saying, I've had enough.
Well, all I'm doing is pushing the point, and I accept that he's not prepared to answer. But I'm doing it so that the audience sees that he's not answering. Not because it's personal, not because I want the win. I'm just letting them see that he's chosen not to answer. That's the reason why I carried on.
Right, can we move on now? Thank you very much. Let's move on.
Any signs of Bill Miller?
Yeah.
You mean Brian Mullen? No, none. Shout out to Bill
No,
Miller,
we skipped
whoever
over
you are.
we skipped over the vacuum next to a pressurized system.
Oh, I'll get to that one. I'll come back to it.
Oh. Okay.
Brian Miller, no.
No Bill Miller?
No.
All of his videos will get re-uploaded though. I'm sure everybody's got like all of those old videos from Bill Miller. They'll just get re-uploaded on all the other channels, right? We'll see him again, I'm sure. Again?
Right.
Once.
I'll have a Google for him right now, see if I can find him.
Okie doke. To be fair,
I have
really
Super
looked
8
at that.
millimeter video from the 1968 of Bill Miller.
He's only just gone missing, so you shouldn't have to look that far. I know he's just taken them down, but I'm sure people do download this stuff, right?
I can't find anything. I'm looking for images now. Let me just bear with me.
So he's got no digital footprint. My God, this guy's good with the net.
No, I'm not seeing him. No. He's
Unearther says Bill Miller is the Prince of Norway.
There's a Bill Miller blues band as well.
Is it true? No, that's Glenn Miller.
No, that was jazz. Come on, swing and jazz. If you do a search on Facebook, there's a Bill Miller's blues band.
Oh yes, you did mention that to me the other day, actually.
Yeah.
Shout out to Was Not Was for the super chat. Where are we up to then? Sorry, pressurized system next to a vacuum. Any signs of that?
Yeah, we have proof of that because the astronauts did go to space. So because they went to space, therefore space exists and it's a vacuum and it's next to a pressurized system. That's
a gradient system, obviously.
That's a Facebook discussion that I'm having right now, and while I asked for proof, that was the proof I was given.
Well, I mean,
Astronauts
I don't know if this question's been asked in that thread, but at the top, where you still have gas pressure, what's it pressing on at the top?
No, it's still gravity holding onto it, obviously, onto these little molecules and atoms way up there. And once in a while, if you get away, that's
sure. No, I get that for the bottom because their explanation. I can get it. I can understand it. There's more stuff above it that's pressing down on it, right? And that stuff above that bottom layer that we're breathing right now is because of gravity, according to them. And I'm not saying I believe this, but it means that you've then got another layer on top of that, and that's causing weight to push down on it, right? But when you get to the top, the last layer of pressure, what's that pressing on to give you pressure? Because if it can't be pressing on a lower pressure system, that's absurd. So what's giving it gas pressure at the top, not the bottom?
That's a good question.
Yeah, they don't have answers for that. Just gravity and more air pressure.
Thanks for giving me my next point that I'll bring up.
Yeah, it's the top
and
that's
Travis,
the problem.
I'll not hold it against you that you called me a dick.
Is that what a prig is?
What?
I called you a prig. P-R-I-G.
Oh, prick. Oh, it's a dick. Yeah, I'll not hold that against you. It's fine.
No. Okay. Yeah, no.
What was the word again? That's a new one on me. Did you say P-R-I-G-G? Prig?
Yeah, isn't that...
You're giggling,
maybe,
so is it something rude?
I'm...
Should you not be saying?
No, No. I thought it was a English colloquialism because I think I heard it in Harry Potter, where they calling each other prigs.
Harry Potter's not British colloquialisms. It's
Well,
wizards and magic.
Okay.
That zone between a vacuum and pressure, it's now known again as a Goldilocks zone.
No. Goldilocks zone is where Earth sits between the sun and the Oort cloud. That's where we sit, the Goldilocks zone. That's a heliocentric term for being the right distance from the sun, because of course we're a spinning ball that's at a distance from the sun. It's not going up in the sky past us. It's us going around it, of course, and the distance that we happen to be perfectly situated between us and the sun and us and the Oort cloud in the other direction is that's the Goldilocks zone, according to heliocentrists.
Then the air pressure is controlled by the porridge. Too warm, too cold, too hot, just pressury enough, overpressured. The porridge must be the boundary zone. It's, above that's the Goldilocks zone, then there must be porridge between us, gravity, and the vacuum of space and our air.
Okay, here we go. You ready? You ready?
Travis,
Wait. Hold on. I just looked it up. Chiefly British. Okay. It's a person who is irritatingly arrogant.
A prig. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
Do you know?
Well, anyway,
hold on.
The only time
you've got an extra word in there. You've got arrogant in there. You know what arrogant means?
I don't know what that's.
You know what arrogant
No.
means?
That's what the definition is. It says it's in
Prig.
Irritatingly arrogant or smug.
Okay.
That's
Look up arrogant. Just check out what arrogant has got. Check out the definition rather.
In proper English, I think he's just prolonging the oral intercourse that's going on.
Nathan got me on the definition of arrogance, and he also got me on the definition of what was the word? Was it ejaculating? Ejaculating.
Yeah, I use that all the time when someone's saying something just to say it. I use it that way too.
Yeah, I keep mixing it up with masturbating though, and it's a bad word to mix up.
Well, it's when a guy named Jack is always late for work. What the boss says.
Jack, you late again?
Well, yeah, I was going to say Nathan was ejaculating Brenda, wasn't he?
No.
No, Brenda was
means
ejaculating.
to interrupt, basically, to interrupt while somebody's speaking.
That's intersecting or interjecting. You said something different.
Ejaculate. Look it up. Just look it
you
up.
said ejaculating.
Yeah, well, look it up. Look up ejaculate and see what it says.
All right, so Nathan, you have an issue with my using the word arrogant. Is that what I'm understanding?
No. I'm not. I've got no issue whatsoever. I'm just interested if you know the definition of arrogance.
Showing an offensive attitude or superiority.
No, it's not the definition then. Sorry, my bad. It's the etymology. Sorry.
Okay. Understood.
I'll look it up. Give me a sec.
I can only imagine it's from French, and throwing in the gauntlet or a glove. Arrogant is to be an air of a glove, like you slap someone with your glove. Arrogance, arrogant. That's my guess.
Hi, Sandra. Saying a few shout outs. Hello.
Shout out to all my adoring fans.
Shout out to when Anthony speaks, you can smell shit dribbling from his lying mouth.
What the?
By doing that, you're condoning that.
Are you serious?
I wondered what that smell was.
Oh man.
Okay, so it's derived from argante, which means to claim for oneself. There you go. That drawed a hush silence. I love it.
I'm just gobsmacked that Ranty would condone such heinous behaviour in chat by reading out the message and glorifying it. Ranty,
I saw something more heinous before than that, trust me. Some
listen,
guy
had pull the victim card. I'm going to do it too.
Well, listen, some guy had the to say that you were the second most liar on Flat Earth. The second most.
I resent that comment.
I resent it too because, do you know, for the last year, I've heard that you're the worst.
I
So
know.
how come you've dropped
I've
a
lost my
place?
crown. Who would be first? Would it be Nathan or would it be somebody else?
Who's superseded you?
I don't know. It's
The
because
flat
I only
earth
go on
have
the.
got to take the cake in lying ability. I mean, come on.
We're gonna have to get this nailed down. We need to find out who it was, who's took top spot.
Can I just tell everybody as well in chat in the audience that Mark's pulling the victim card in the back chat now against Ranty.
Come off it.
Oh, against me?
You're just bullying Mark now.
I am.
Yes, you've made it personal, Sunshine. Now,
You
listen,
have made it
not
personal.
personal.
That was totally uncalled for.
and I want an apology. Retract that statement.
Yeah,
An
come on,
apology for
Anthony.
what?
Just nip this in the bud. He retracted his Nazi statement. Just there's no need
Hang
to
on.
poke him constantly.
Hang on. What's he want the apology for?
See, you can't do it, can you?
You tell me what it's for, and I might.
Because you said he's
Anthony,
pulling the
you're-
victim
Anthony, you're
card
so
because he's
full of
having
your
a
own
moan.
self-importance.
You
so
think this
far-
is about my self-importance, and you don't think it's about your inability to produce
Arrogant.
evidence of gravity?
Arrogant.
Listen,
Arrogant.
everybody can see what was written. Ranty says, I must be another Arwen that dreams dreams. Now, that was
I
totally
didn't
off
say
topic.
that. I never said that.
Uh,
I asked you a question. I said, Mark, do you have dreams and visions like Arwen does? I never said anything about you being the same as Arwen. I just asked you a question.
Okay, and what's the bottom line about that question? Do you have dreams and visions like Arwen does?
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. But if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you have not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!